Hi guys, welcome back. Today we're going to visit with Hype Girl Courtney, and the name of her video is I'm Too Fat for Sex. Enjoy.
Hello everyone, we're going to be talking about sex and body image, and it's going to be a little bit of a story time video, I guess. I want to talk with you all about sex and weight and relationships, because that's what we do in this series. Oh god, I need a drink. This is really personal, so please be nice, not that you guys ever aren't, in the comments below. In a previous relationship, so not current boyfriend, I want to make that clear. In a previous relationship, we were having a lot of troubles in the bedroom. There was a general lack of interest from his side, very disinterested in sex. I was feeling really frustrated, and needless to say, a number of different fights had arose about this topic, and I couldn't figure out why sparks were no longer flying. You know, we were young, we were in love. In my mind, there was no reason as to why, things just shouldn't be, still hot and heavy. We've been dating probably about a year and a half at this point. During one of the fights surrounding this topic, and when I was demanding answers from him as to, what was going on and why he wasn't interested, and this is hard. It's hard for me to admit for two reasons what happened, because I don't want to blame him for being a bad guy or anything like that. And it's also embarrassing, but I want to share this with you because I think it's important to talk about. He blamed my weight. He said that he found the weight that I was at unattractive. I guess he was associating some sedentaryism, if that's a word, a lack of being active with, again, that unattractiveness, and basically really put the blame on me. It was my fault for being, I guess, too fat, and therefore that was why he didn't want to have sex with me. As you can imagine, at the time, it was such a mix of emotions as to what I felt. I was angry, I was confused, and I was incredibly hurt. It was a big blow to my self-esteem. And my first reaction was, I just wanted this person to love me so badly, and I wanted to fix what was wrong in our relationship. So naturally, I guess, my first reaction was, okay, I gotta do this. I gotta lose weight.
All right, so that leads us to question number one. If somebody kind of led you to believe that the reason that they didn't really want to be intimate with you was because of your weight, would you go down the path of wanting to lose weight, or would you want to lose that partner? Let us know down in the comments.
So I just ramped things up and tried changing my diet and exercising more. I never talked to you guys about this, but it kind of coincided with when I started this YouTube channel and when I started making all those fitness, weight loss related videos. And I'm not really proud to admit that, because if anyone ever told me this kind of story and said that they were trying to lose weight for a partner, it would infuriate me. I would be like, oh my god, dump him, get his ass on the road, you can do better, ciao. But when you're in that situation, it is not that easy. So that's what I did. I chose the route of I tried. It was the wrong choice. That's all I can say to you, is it was the wrong choice. And it's hard for me to even articulate why it was the wrong choice. I understand the health aspect of saying to your partner, I'm concerned about the fact that you maybe have gained weight. I want to make sure we live a long, healthy life together. Obviously, if you fell in love with someone a certain way and they have extreme body changes, I understand maybe there might be a struggle there. Maybe your attraction has changed, but as much as I understand that, I think true love and a true partnership is so much more than weight and the body and external looks. As you age, things move south, or things get bigger or smaller or don't work as well and more wrinkly. We get older, and that's just a part of life. I want someone, and I want the type of relationship where that is the foundation, that you're going to be there together through those changes. And the only regret I have, I guess, is not believing in myself enough and not sticking up for myself.
I love how she's just kind of leaving it out there and letting us know how she truly felt. You know, the reality is, if you do work out, ideally you want to work out because you want to. It comes from within. But let me ask you guys a question. Let's say you were contemplating working out, but because you were procrastinating, you just kind of weren't quite getting to day one, right? And then your partner said something like that. Would that be a catalyst that would push you, or would it still revert back to get out of here? Let us know down in the comment section.
I look back at pictures. I looked good then. I look good good now, but I still looked good then. And if you aren't willing to like do me then, you don't deserve to do me now. I would love to hear the thoughts if you've been in this situation or what you think. And would you stick with somebody if they were 40 to 50 pounds heavier, if they were 200 pounds heavier, if their body completely changed? So we can also just talk about like how important is sex in a relationship, because in my mind it's a pretty big part how I express love. There's no way that I could be in a sexless relationship. Like I want to be 80 years old and embarrassing my grandkids because me and grandpa are making out and spanking each other on the bum. So the best advice I have to give to you, if you're in that situation, if I can quote the Princess Diaries and Eleanor Roosevelt, she said, "No one can make you feel inferior without your permission. So do not give anyone your permission. No matter how much you love them, do not let anyone make you feel like you need to lose weight to be good enough to be loved, to be good enough to have sex with, to be found like sexually attractive. Do not give away that power. You need to believe in yourself and find yourself damn sexy. Don't let anyone else make you feel small or unattractive, or that the body that you're in and the body that you have isn't good enough. Because if they won't love you at the size that you're at, someone else will. You are so worthy of love." That's the message that I wish that someone had given me at the time that this happened. I am not my weight. I am not my dress size. This body is a part of me, but there is so much more that defines me and who I am. Anyways, leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think about this topic.
Hey, I thought she was awesome. You know, she said one thing that was kind of interesting. She said that even when she's 80, she wants to have a good sex life with her partner, right? I heard that people in the old folks' home heard that like STDs are rampant in the old folks' home. Have you guys heard that as well? Anyway, listen, I want you guys to have a wonderful sex life as well. One of the best ways you can feel sexy is if you feel sexy from within. And one of the best ways we can do that is to get you feeling better about your weight and about just your life in general. So why don't you guys go get your shoes? Let's go for a walk. Good morning, Venters. Happy July 3rd, which means it's the 4th of July. Fireworks everywhere. It's the birth of a country that we're slowly trying to turn back into socialism of the British kind. To our British and UK friends, thank you for giving us our freedom. I know it was a pain in the butt country that you had to eventually let go, but thank you nonetheless. We know that we didn't battle for our freedom. We know ultimately you people in the UK gave it to us, but we're still thankful for it nonetheless. Hey, I have a great story here, guys. You guys have probably never heard of Emma Patterson of White Oak, Maryland, the Montgomery County native. You know, it's funny. Almost all the stories come out of the state of Maryland. So I'm thinking the Good News Network must be based out there in Baltimore or something. But check this out. Since the 1980s, she has fostered over 40 kids. She's officially announcing her retirement now that she's 88 years old. But she was awarded with a lifetime award from the foster care system there. And I just think that's wonderful. It started because her two naturally birthed children started bringing home school friends. And Emma noticed that a lot of the school friends needed clothes, a lot of them needed food, some of them had parents that weren't really in the best of shape, money-wise, and sometimes they had criminal backgrounds. And so she started registering she registered to become a foster care parent in the 80s, and over the last 40 plus years, she's fostered over 44 children, and I just thought that was amazing. We heard about a Lifetime Achievement Award that a person in England, or a couple in England had,
similar situation where they were still taking care of kids, but kind of starting to get towards the end of their fostering careers. If you're a foster parent, or if you've ever known someone like a friend or family member that was a foster parent, maybe you could let us know in the comments. If you yourself ever had to grow up in the foster care system, maybe you could let us know a little bit about that as well. Real quick, I remembered to bring an extra battery today, and you're not going to believe this, but yesterday when I got home, I ended up reaching into my back pocket, and I actually did have that extra battery, which is really weird because I could have swore I checked my pockets and they weren't there. Maybe that's part of the simulation or matrix. So let's talk about today. Hopefully you guys are watching this in the morning before you're getting ready to join family members for an afternoon picnic or to go watch the fireworks together. A lot of people, despite the heat, are going to be firing up the grill to make hot dogs and hamburgers and potato salad, and to have friends and family over, right, for sodas and cupcakes and different things, right, that people do for the 4th of July. My thinking is, especially if you're brand new to your diet and exercise plan, guys, to be honest with you, when you're brand new, you already know, or at least you should know, that over the next 45 or 60 days, you're probably not going to lose too much weight right off the bat. And this is one of those holidays where, you know, if you're only a couple days into your diet and exercise routine, I wouldn't recommend just blowing and destroying your diet, right? But at the same time, you know, because it is a special occasion, you could always just eat a little bit smarter without totally ruining the holiday. You know, for example, when you have that burger, you know, you could always have that burger or the hot dog rather than both, right? And some families go all out. You might have bratwurst, you might have potato salad, you might have a bunch of different fixtures that everybody brings and sides. Whatever you eat about I don't know, maybe half of what you normally would. Let's see if we can escape this 4th of July without totally ditching it, right? Because we still have family members and friends that we want to hang out with. So if everybody's drinking soda, but you notice in the family cooler that there's some bottled water, you know, maybe you could eat what you want, but drink bottled water rather than soda, right? Because last year you didn't stop. You ate whatever you want. You ate seconds and thirds. You ate 2 or 3 extra cupcakes. And you ended up drinking about half a dozen Coca-Colas and Sprites all by yourself. What if we could enjoy that same 4th of July just minus the soda? What if we could enjoy that same 4th of July, but you have a bottled water, and instead of hot dogs, hamburgers, and potato salad, how about you just have a hot dog and some potato salad? I'm a firm believer in baby steps. What we could do is we could baby step this first little holiday here for the 4th of July. And then what we could do is we could take an additional baby step for the next major holiday, which is what? Thanksgiving, you know? Some people might want to take off Labor Day and get together with people, right? Which would, I guess, be between now and Thanksgiving. But at the same time, you know, whether you want to take advantage of the holiday, or if you want to go the opposite route and just say, you know what, it's the holiday, I'm going to pig out and we'll deal with the diet and exercise plan the next day. If that's what you want to do, I don't have a real big problem with it, but maybe run it by your doctor. You know, if you're a walking medicine cabinet and you've got some main issues, just because you're starting a walking routine doesn't necessarily give you the green light to eat what you want. But here's the interesting thing. If you're looking for a special occasion to eat something sweet or to eat something that's not the most healthy, guys, I think birthdays, anniversaries, and special holidays kind of make for that perfect day. We have about half a dozen holidays throughout the course of the year, kind of starting with Easter and New Year's, right, at the beginning of the year, and ending with Thanksgiving and Christmas. We have a handful of holidays where it's not uncommon for us to get together with family and eat. So if you want to make those holidays your special occasions when you actually bust out and eat what you want, I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. Look at this, we got a guy blowing leaves that don't exist. Isn't that weird? I don't know what it is. Everybody wants to blow leaves. And I always run into them. Oh, we got a guy in the park without a shirt on. Holy moly. Here's our walker. This girl's been walking every day. Good morning. I'm proud of her and excited. She's been walking like crazy. This guy in the park here with no shirt doesn't necessarily look like the type of character that you want sleeping at your parks. Man, I'm telling you, the world that I've grown up in is absolutely nothing like the world that I'm a part of now. And I guess I can complain about it, but complaining doesn't get you much in life. Some people have the theory that the squeaky wheel gets the oil. Man, I've heard so many squeaky wheels through the years, I'm kind of tired of the squeaky wheel. If some of you guys are natural squeaky wheels and that's helped you get along in life, good for you. Continue to be that squeaky wheel. I just noticed that when I'm the squeaky wheel, I don't get anything out of it. So I'm a little tired of the squeaky wheels. But whatchamacallit, guys, it's 94 degrees out today. We're in the midst of 20 days in a row of 110 degree temperatures, which again kind of came out of nowhere because I felt like we were in the early 100s for so long. So what do we do if we do end up pigging out today for the 4th of July? Even that way, there's certain things that you can do that'll be different than last 4th of July. I think right now you're starting off your 4th of July with a walk, right? So if you're walking for a half hour, right there, just bought you one of those Sprites or Cokes that you're gonna drink at the picnic, right? If you ended up walking for an hour, you probably purchased yourself a cupcake and a drink. Now, why do I say this? I say this because the previous holidays over the previous decades of your life, you didn't really have a walking routine. When you walk, you are literally a calorie killer. You are burning calories every single day. And if you do a half-hour walk every single day, guys, that equates to a 15-hour walking marathon every single month. And I always like you to use your imagination. How much would you weigh right now, despite all the holidays that we go through every year? How much would you weigh, or how less would you weigh, if you had walked every day for the previous X amount of years? Because I've done it, so I know for a fact that I'm never, ever in this situation where I gain any weight during the holidays. And if I do gain a pound or two, I don't really notice it, because usually within a week or so, I've already walked another handful of times. Oh, look at this beautiful patch of shade. I'm not even joking. The non-shaded areas, 94 degrees. The shade feels like about 85, 86. Feels like a good 10 degrees less, maybe more. Hi, pretty kitty. Look at you. I like when they have that like black/brown. I forget what it's called. It's got a specific color, but very pretty coat. It's funny. I was talking back and forth in a comment with Terry, the Terrify from Utah. And she had caught on to the fact that yesterday I did a little bit of a rant about Californians, because Californians tend to sell their homes in California for millions of dollars. And then they come out here which is average in California, right? If you're super successful in the rest of the world, you're average in California. They sell their homes for $1 million in California, and they come out here, and a house that's $300,000, they're able to bid it up to $330,000, $340,000, or whatever the case might be. They're able to just buy a house with cash. And what they do is they elevate the prices, so a neighborhood out here you know, it might be good while you're living here. It raises your prices, right? But it literally makes it where a lot of the neighborhoods are tough to live in. And Terry had brought up the fact that, yeah, you know, Jesse, I feel the same way. I like Californians, but I don't like the idea of Californians moving into our different states and raising up the prices and bringing their politics with them, right? And it's just interesting because I think a lot of the people around this country aren't very fond of California. There's a lot of things that you all do in California that just make the rest of the country want to pull our hair out, you know? And if you live in California and if you love California, then God bless you. But I can tell you one thing, your state was a heck of a lot better 30 or 40 years ago. And when I first visited California, I first went out to LA to visit an uncle when I was like 5 or 6 years old. I went with my grandma and my Uncle David, and we took a Greyhound bus out there. And one of my earliest childhood memories was the pollution and dirt. That's my earliest memory from seeing LA when I was like 5 years old, is I just remember the streets were littered with dirty paper and litter and trash. And it looked nothing like Arizona. And at the time I had went on my first flight, Western Airlines flight to Portland, Oregon, and Portland, Oregon was beautiful. And from what I understand nowadays, Portland, Oregon's even a little iffy. I haven't seen it. I'm assuming it's still gorgeous. But these places that we grew up thinking, oh my God, California is the best. And LA, I love LA. I don't know why anybody would love LA. We went to Anaheim to go to Disneyland and stuff, right? We go there, the freeways, like the signs don't even look green. They look like really, I don't know what you would describe the color at. It just looks like a dreary gray. And when you realize that they're supposed to be green, but for whatever reason, there's gangster graffiti on all the freeways and stuff. And this was 20 years ago, but I have a feeling it's still the same, right? And then 20 years ago, I told you guys, we went to Disneyland, and it was like, you got to spend a ton of money. You got to know how to skip to the front of the line. It was like, my goodness, I almost wish looking back that I would have had a YouTube resource or something that I could have pulled up and found out the secret handshake to enjoy Disneyland more. It was just really weird. It was like the whole time I was out there, instead of enjoying the theme park and instead of enjoying the vacation, I was just like, oh my God, this is crazy. They're literally breaking families. You know how many kids go up to their parents every single day in this country and say, Mommy, Daddy, I want to go to Disneyland. I want to go to Disney World. I think Walt Disney would be ashamed if he knew how expensive his theme parks were nowadays. You know, we talk a lot about racism and equality in this country, but we talk about it in situations that don't always make sense to me. When you're talking about equality and stuff, and you're doing it with, you know, the workplace or with schools and stuff that are already designed to kind of treat people equally, does that mean people always get treated equally? No, it's a workplace. You got people, you got nepotism, right? But what bothers me is, how come nobody, you know, California always is greater than thou. How come nobody ever mentions that California is impossible to live in? And I'm talking price-wise, not crime-wise. We already know crime-wise, LA and California are just awful, right? And San Francisco and these different areas, they're awful, right? And if you have a business, somebody can literally take a turd right in the doorway of your business and nothing's gonna happen to them. Yet every year your taxes go up, you know? And then you go out to California, you take your family of 4 out there. My God, you better not go out there with anything less than $5 or $6 grand. Otherwise, you're not going to have any fun. And considering most families barely have any money to their name, you've got this giant place in Disneyland and just the whole Disney Corporation that are literally just milking people for money. I mean, my God, you're there spending all this money to enjoy the rides that you can't even enjoy. back when I was going there 20 years ago, it seemed like a percentage of the rides weren't even open that day, right? I think Space Mountain and a couple of rides were closed, so we couldn't even go to any of those rides. It's a Small World. Yeah, that lame ride is always open though, isn't it? That's one where tourists go on because the line's not as long. What a sad reason to go on a ride, huh? Because it's the shortest line in the park. But anyway, I'm just really disappointed. Could I go to Disneyland nowadays and enjoy myself? Yeah, but you'd be better set off to take that money and invest in an index fund or something. You could probably retire a millionaire just from cashing in a vacation at Disneyland into your retirement. Oh my God, how many people go broke because of Disneyland? And isn't that the absolute worst reason in the world to go broke? Do you realize Disneyland could cut their prices in half, literally in half, and it would still be expensive as all heck? I mean, there's not that much difference between Disneyland and a fair as far as I'm concerned. And I even think state fairs are kind of expensive, but it's like 1/10 of what you would spend at Disneyland. So again, we have these institutions and these places in America that are considered so special. New York City, the Big Apple, Times Square, right? LA, California, the Golden Gate Bridge, San Francisco, all these places, God, you can't even afford to visit them. That's not what America should be about, you know? And these people are the ones that scream equality. You can't even afford to take a vacation in their state. And if you do, you can't even afford to keep valuables in your vehicle or something. They'll break into it. There was a story, did you guys hear about this story about, I don't know, 6-7 months ago? They were having major problems with thieves breaking into cars in the San Francisco area. And so people started, this was the most sad, defeated thing ever. Tell me if you guys saw this. People started keeping their windows rolled down, and they would literally put a little 3x5 note card on the window, and it would say, hey, there is no valuables in this car. Please don't break any windows or something, because people would break windows to get 50 cents that was in the console, right? And so you literally have a situation where instead of locking up your car and setting your car alarm, people would unlock all the windows and make sure there was nothing in the car. And then they would leave a sorry ass note, you know, please don't break any windows. There's no money in this car. Oh my God, that is embarrassing. And then the President Xi from China visits San Francisco, and all of a sudden all the homeless people are rounded up and literally the streets are cleaned. What a scam. You're literally willing to clean up the neighborhood and the streets for President Xi? Why don't you do that for President Biden? Why don't you do that for President Trump? Why don't you do that for, you know, what's the governor's name? Gavin Newsom? Why don't you do it for President Newsom? By the way, his slithery butt is planning on being the Democratic nominee. And I gotta be honest with you, you got to put somebody like Gavin Newsom up, much better than the current choice. Oh my goodness. Guys, we need to stop thinking along the lines of political ties, and we need to start saying, hey, the guy that's in charge right now, I don't even know if he knows he's in charge. God, I'm sure we all saw that debate. My goodness, the one thing that doesn't make sense about that debate that should make everybody's red flag go up is the whole idea that only now are you realizing that this guy was never fit for president? You only noticed it now? Oh my goodness. That is crazy. I would much rather have somebody in there that's not necessarily the best human being, because I don't think the presidency should have anything to do with being the best. It's not the best human being in the world award. I always like the idea of having a business guy in leadership, because business people know how to make companies profitable. So if you have a business person leading the country, you've got a chance at the country being successful, right? But this is the first administration where, my God, I've never seen everything go up so much in price. And at the same time, you've got people telling you that it's wonderful. Look how beautiful it is. There's nothing beautiful about the country nowadays. You know, it's interesting. If there was a company and you were buying products from them and the product progressively got worse, and on top of getting worse, started doubling and tripling in price, how long would it take you to wise up and say, I'm not buying your products anymore? Well, that's what's happening in America. You have this situation where everyone's broke, the prices keep going up, and then at the same time, we're told how wonderful things are. I have to walk just because I can't afford going to the movies anymore, right? Why are you walking, Betty? I'm walking because that's the only thing I can afford. If you're walking specifically for entertainment purposes, something's wrong, you know? And again, I don't think it matters what side of the aisle you're voting from. You should be able to look at the leader of the country and say, how did that happen? And who's leading our country? Because it obviously isn't him, you know? I normally don't like to get political at all, but there's something really scary that we as a country have been okay with our presidency being on autopilot. And I really don't like this. I really don't like the president's wife either. I really don't like her. She came across as this nice school teacher, but now I'm starting to look at her and I'm starting to think, my goodness, isn't it your job and responsibility as a wife to say, my husband obviously needs to be in a hospital type situation? Oh my goodness. It's really scary seeing what happens to our bodies in a mental and physical way as we age. I love dogs, but it always amazes me how dogs can sit there and hear themselves bark nonstop. That dog's not barking either. I don't know if you can hear him, but there's a dog talking. You know, where they don't quite bark, it sounds like they're trying to form words. That dog's talking. So anyway, I don't necessarily blame my life's successes or failures on the presidency or on the government, but this has been the first time in my life where literally everything feels like Disneyland. That's why I bring up Disneyland. The world is going the route of Disneyland, where you get less and less of an experience for more and more of the price. And at the same time, just like a Disneyland commercial, you're led to believe that everything is fantasy land and everything is great. Guys, nothing's wonderful about this country that we live in right now. Nothing. The prices all suck. The people are all antisocial. We're all gaining weight. They're starting to play with us by telling us that, oh my God, you gaining weight has nothing to do with you. The other day we watched a video and it says, did you know that skinny people and fat people eat the same things? Guys, if you believe that, I've got a bridge to sell you, okay? People, when we are overweight, we all eat more than when we're skinny. It's just true. So if any study tells you that it's this way and this way and this way, and then on top of that, they tell you something that's obviously false, when I'm 185 pounds, I can eat 2 chocolate Pershing donuts, which are like giant Texas-sized donuts. I could eat that daily on top of 2 bowls of Captain Crunch cereal and snacks and junk food in the middle of the day, every day. When I'm 160 pounds like I am now, or 165, and I'm walking, I don't think about junk food that much. I just don't. I'm not pushing it out of my mind. It just doesn't enter my mind. And it's funny, if you look back at my first couple days walking with you guys, what you'll notice is that I almost was fantasizing about donuts and stuff. Now, there was a reason for that. There's a lot of people that go by the mantra, out of sight, out of mind when it comes to food. But I don't think you should think like that. Because when you think like that, then all of a sudden, what happens when food pops in your mind? Are you a victim of it again? No, you want to get to the point where you can look at something sweet and you can take it or leave it. And I'm telling you, just your daily walk every day where you can make a game plan. Hey, I'm gonna have hot dogs and hamburgers, but I'm gonna ditch the potato salad and I'm gonna ditch the Sprite and I'm gonna have water. Guys, do you know how excellent of a plan that is? Let me tell you what's not an excellent plan. I'm gonna go on this crash diet and I'm gonna go out to the 4th of July picnic and I'm gonna eat carrot sticks and water and I'm gonna ignore all the food and family that are there. That's not a good plan. You think it's a good plan because you have every diet guru in the world telling you to really obey, you know, this master plan. But you know what's gonna happen? 4 or 5 days later, you're gonna quit and then people are gonna wonder, why didn't Patty just have potato salad with us? Why didn't she eat Grandma's cake? Grandma, this might be Grandma's last 4th of July. She made Patty a cake. Did you see that Patty ignored it and didn't even have one piece? Why not? Well, Patty said she was on a diet. Well, why is Patty eating 5 pancakes today? Well, you know how diets go. People quit them just as fast as they start them. Don't do that to yourself. Give yourself a baby step. Because you know what baby steps will do for the 4th of July, guys? It'll set it up where when Thanksgiving comes around, you'll naturally have a game plan. Hey, I was able to get through the 4th of July with just drinking water and ditching the potato salad. I was able to enjoy everything else. So this Thanksgiving, I'm gonna enjoy the cranberry, I'm gonna skip out on the cranberry and the roll and the soda, and then I'm gonna have turkey, and instead of mashed potatoes, maybe I'll have the green bean casserole. You can still enjoy most of everything, and you can enjoy everything you want, as long as you consistently go back to walking, drinking water, and avoiding sugar. Okay? Baby steps. Baby steps. If you're thinking to yourself, God, this is gonna suck, then you're not doing baby steps right. Baby steps should never suck. But Jesse, I want to be strong and I want to start my diet and I haven't had any sweets and I've been eating well and I don't want to ruin that. Okay, that is a situation where I think you can go to the family picnic today and let them know that, hey, I know you guys are having hot dogs and hamburgers, but I bought myself some chicken fillets, right? Can you throw some of these on the grill for me? Hey, I know you're making your world famous sweet tea, Mom, but if you could you leave me a little tea that has no sugar in it? I'm trying to avoid the sugar. Don't make a giant scene out of it, you know? And if there are cupcakes and stuff made on your behalf, because maybe in addition to the 4th of July, maybe it's your birthday this week, right? You know, there's nothing stopping you from having just one rather than 2 or 3 cupcakes. And at the end of the day, let the younger people take home leftovers, because that's what young people do, right? At family picnics, they take home leftovers to eat. That doesn't mean you have to take home the leftovers to eat. But anyway, regardless of the president, regardless of your politics, sometimes you need to shut all that out, right? I like to vent. It's for your entertainment, right? Have a wonderful holiday. And there's nothing wrong with our country. Just certain things irritate me. That's the way life is. Have a great day. We'll talk soon.